What that means is I recognize marketing and sales and everything about getting business is so important, because if I don't have a speech, doesn't matter how good my speech is.
You can show up and bring some personality, bring your true, authentic self, even in a follow-up video.
And it's the consistent and predictable meeting of expectations or ever so slightly above. You do not have to be over the top every single interaction you have with a customer to make them say, wow, this person's amazing.
On episode 332 of the podcast, you will learn that with some basic sales and marketing skills, you can win more clients. You're going to discover that creating a positive service experience that consistently meets or exceeds customer expectations is just as important as having a great video. And you'll also see how being more interested in the client than in making the sale and consistently meeting their expectations can help create loyal relationships and boost your video business. What's up, friend? I am Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast, the show for corporate and commercial filmmakers, where we talk about the business of video production. If you are looking for a community of like-minded filmmakers and you want to elevate your business practices without sacrificing your soul, I want to invite you to go watch my 6-figure filmmaking workshop, where I share the last 18 years worth of commercial filmmaking mistakes in an easily consumable format. There are action steps on how you can up-level your work, how you can charge more, and build a business that is sustainable, that will be around for a long time without having to compromise your creative integrity. This workshop is completely free, and I'm excited to invite you to be a part of it. In the workshop, we're going to cover key strategies and techniques that have helped me and countless others transform our businesses, attract higher paying clients, and maintain a balanced lifestyle. I only work about 2.5 days a week. I was going to say 2.5 weeks a day, but that doesn't make any sense. And I want to show you how I've done that, how I've built $1 million video production studio here in Detroit, Michigan, and how you can apply some of these same things to grow your own video business. The workshop is accessible at studiosherpas.com/workshop. It is completely free. It is my gift to you. And after you join the workshop, you'll also be invited to our exclusive online community where you can connect with me and 1,000 other filmmakers on a similar journey. Again, that URL is studiosherpas.com/workshop. Go watch that, but you're here for the podcast, so let's get into that first, and then maybe go watch the workshop after that, or change your whatever you want to do. Okay, let's run the interview here. What is up, friends? Welcome to another episode. I'm really excited about my guest today, Shep Hyken, who is a customer service and experience expert and the Chief Amazement Officer of Shepherd Presentations. He is a New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling author of 8 books. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. And today works with companies and organizations that want to build loyal relationships with their customers and employees. Shep, so good to have you on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Shep, what's like the one, like what's the great, I've been married for 20 years and I can count on my hand, like probably 3 really great things that I've done as a husband. A lot of things that I'm like, it's pretty good. When you look at your career and the success that you've had, what's like one of those top things where you're like, man, I somehow stumbled into this, or I actually made a intentionally good decision and this is what it was and this is what happened because of it?
Sure. I think this applies to everybody who has their video business too. In my job, which a big part of my money is made when I get out and keynote speak at conferences. The job's not doing the speech, it's getting the speech. Yeah. What that means is I recognize marketing and sales and everything about getting business is so important, because if I don't have a speech, doesn't matter how good my speech is. If you are working at selling video for corporations, for weddings, for whatever it is that you do, if you don't have those clients, doesn't matter how good you are, right? So that's what the job is. And the goal would be, I'd be good enough that they'd want to come back and hire me again. Mm-hmm. Or even better, they'd hire me again and they'd start recommending me to others. Very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. It's for somebody that's just starting. You know, I worked at a very small Christian college right out of graduating and never stepped foot in like a traditional corporate job. And here I am all these years later, you know, I am working with big, very important,
Probably some of the biggest companies in the world.
yes, and learning or understanding like customer service. I'm fortunate that I had, you know, some experience in the restaurant industry, and then for the first few years, we were filming weddings, and so I did get to see a lot of people that were incredibly gifted at customer experience and customer service, and so I learned so much from them. But if I didn't have that experience, I really am nervous for like what could have happened. For somebody who doesn't have that kind of background, where does one start to understand not the importance of customer service, because I think that's like a no-brainer, but like where does one really start to understand like, well, what could that look like? Running a video business, working with clients, like what are the things?
Yeah. First thing, go buy my book.
Yeah.
Amaze every customer every time. Start there. That's one of the 8 books. I joke about that, but seriously, you know, there's so much information. Even better than that, you don't need to invest any money. Just go to my website and take a look at my newsletter, my past newsletters, read them. Go to my YouTube channel, sheptv.com. That's an easy one. It'll take you straight there. There's hundreds of tips that you can use and learn from. But I'll go back, you know, where does one start? First of all, you have to start with the idea that, you know, again, if you're really good at what you do, that's great. But if you deliver it in a way that irritates your customers, you're never on time, you don't respond to calls quickly, they're going to go find somebody that does. Here's what we've learned over the years. A great service experience with a lousy product means the customer is going to find a place that does what it's supposed to do, sells, you know, it works, good video product, even losing a little bit of the service experience, no matter how good you are. Yeah. So your product needs to do what it's supposed to do. However, you can have the best product if you're delivering it in the way I just described, where you don't return calls quickly, you don't hit the deadlines, et cetera, et cetera. Doesn't matter how good your product or how you know good that product is. They're going to go find somebody that treats them better, even if they lose a little quality of the product. Best companies have figured out how to create that balance, and oftentimes they have a great product with great service, because you know what? It's not that hard to do. It's intentional, and being intentional means you're aware of the opportunities you have to create that experience. So what are the non-negotiable standards that you can create that would make people say, I want to do business with you? Let's start with something easy. How quickly do you return a call or an email? Okay. You mentioned when you started out in the wedding business. I have a friend of mine, he has a spa, and he does a lot of wedding parties where this is all the bridesmaids come in and they get their day at the spa, whatever, on the day of the wedding. And somebody called at like 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening, after the basic hours of, you know, the typical business hours are closed. They're still taking care of clients in their spa. But so the person called back the very next morning, as soon as they opened at 9 a.m., and it was too late. The client had found somebody else, even though this was the first call they made. Yeah. They just went, and whoever responded the fastest got the business, because they knew the quality of the product, from what they could tell, was going to be enough. So think about it. You've got people who are in business. If you're doing corporate work, you've got people who want to get the answer and move on so they can go along with the rest of the day and think about other responsibilities. I always tell my clients when they hire me, good news, I'm the last thing you have to worry about now. So you don't need to worry about whether I'm going to show up, because I'd show up. You don't need to worry about whether I'm going to call you a month beforehand, because I've already put it in my calendar. You will hear from me before I hear from you. And so we had a client today say, our meeting's next week. I haven't received the PowerPoint deck. Went back and looked. No, we sent it to you. You even acknowledged that you received it. Here it is again. And I'm going to bring it with me on a thumb drive so that when I get there, in case you didn't bring it and don't have it, I have it. And they go, you said you were going to be the one thing I didn't have to worry about. I got to worry more about me than I worry about you. Exactly. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Oh, that's funny. I think one of the challenges, and I remember early on, you know, especially when we were in the wedding world, and we would get so many inquiries because we weren't really marketing ourselves well enough to show people who our ideal client was. So we were getting super high-end clients, very low-end clients, and everything in between. And so there were a lot of emails to field. And this is back when people used to use phones and call each other too. So we would get a lot of voicemails, and I believed, we had so many of those times where it was like we called back too late, and it was like, wait, it was just an hour ago, and they're like, yeah, I know. Well, we already met with somebody, and it's like, oh my gosh,
That's my point. Freaky fast.
yeah.
Jimmy John levels of service.
Here's the challenge, and I don't know what the solution is. So I would just love to hear your thoughts. I've tried to build a business that works around my life, right? Instead of just working and having this like business consume me, I want to be in control of the things. So creating boundaries, and you talk about 6 p.m. like they didn't take the call, and like, well, yeah, it's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock. Like don't.
But that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
I would say, I called them back. They called after regular business hours, and I called them within 5 minutes of opening.
Yeah.
I think it's unnatural to think that wasn't fast enough.
Totally.
But I gave you that example as to how some customers today think. It's in their mind. They want the answer. They want to move on.
Yep.
And they're going to take whoever gets back to them quickest.
Yes. 100% agree. So as, there are a lot of video companies that are, roughly the same size and face a lot of the same challenges of like, I can't be, we're on set today, so there's no way I'm answering any calls. I can't get back to anybody. So what is that? How does one find in a small business like that doesn't have, a full-time receptionist or somebody fielding calls and emails? What are some things, or what's something that somebody like me could do to try to at least, I don't know, not take the call, but are there any strategies or anything that can be done?
Well, you got to set an expectation.
Yeah.
And if you email me, I should have an away desk or an away message that tells you when I'll get back to you. If I'm voicemail, same thing. I'm on location, I will call you within 1 business day. And by the way, is that fast enough? That's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
The other option you have is use a service to respond appropriately. You don't need to hire a full-time person. You could be part of a group that hires a company to manage this for you. If you really want to do something inexpensive but have the appearance of a full-time person, go overseas and find somebody in India, the Philippines, and even Pakistan for $4 an hour. Which, by the way, when the average salary is $3,000 to $4,000 a year over there, and by the way, that's a good salary over there. You can live. Are you going to live like a king? No, but think about that. You can find really good people who will work on your hours for that kind of money.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I definitely think today less so, because I feel like the kind of clientele that we're going after, they might be looking at one other company, but not like 10. Where when we were in our early days of wedding films, those brides were probably calling 5 different companies, and it's a very much a different process. But even today, being able to show up and respond in as efficient way as possible.
It's non-negotiable in my mind.
Yeah.
It is a non-negotiable behavior. It's what your customers and clients want and expect, and realize they're learning from other companies outside of your industry what fast response looks like.
Yeah, and so that's like baseline. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Cut you off.
Oh, by the way, I just I mentioned the off overseas. It's people will say, how can you would be willing to do that? Isn't that bad? I mean, don't you want to support jobs here in the U.S.? 100%. If people are willing to come in and work and not leave, and be loyal. But we been very, very lucky with the remote workforce. Sometimes they are here in the U.S. and sometimes they're not. We've got 2 people that are international. They work hard. They do great work. We keep them busy, and when we are not available, the phones can be picked up over there just as they can over here.
Yeah, that's good. I think the baseline for following up via email, voicemails, and whatever is like efficient, like 24 hours. If you can do it less, great. Yes, that's like baseline customer service. What are some things like if I say, man, I want to be remarkable, I want to stand out when somebody calls us, has an experience with us, their first experience, what is something, how should I be thinking? What are some ways to stand out?
Yeah, I mean, what you want to do is you're more interested in the client than you are making the sale. It should be apparent that is the case, because if you are more interested in them, the sale will most likely follow. Provided you do what it is that you want them to do. So you should make every opportunity when you're interacting with a customer for the first time. By the way, people think I'm a customer service and experience expert. Customer service is not a department, it's a philosophy. And it starts the moment the customer starts looking at your website. How easy is it to find information about how to reach you? How easy is it to see examples? How easy are you to do business with can be represented on the site. And then that site should reflect the type of business you are and the quality of business you are. If you want to get, 6-figure video projects, you're not going to have a $1,500 website.
Right. That's good.
By the way, if you are a lower priced videographer, you might have a lower priced website that does just perfect for you. But the experience on the website is a customer experience. The experience in the sales process is a customer experience. The service that they experience during that process, how fast you return calls, get proposals to them, et cetera, those are part of customer service and experience. So don't think it's for somebody that calls and needs help and that kind of thing. It's much broader than that. So I don't know if that answers the question, or did I go off topic here? Sometimes I do that. I go, "There's a squirrel."
I do the same thing. Yeah, I see lots of squirrels. So being remarkable, like what are some things that we can do that really?
So step one, manage the moment of truth. And that is any interaction that your customer has. And it goes one of 3 ways. It's bad, and that means it's a bad experience. There's a complaint that's involved. People just don't like what they see. It's average. And nobody ever became truly successful by being mediocre and average. And then I actually call that a moment of mediocrity. And then there's the moment of magic, which is a positive experience or one that meets expectation. So you use the word remarkable. I use the word amazing. And my definition of amazing is when you consistently and predictably can meet those customers' expectations to the point where they say, they're always so helpful. They're always getting back to me quickly. They're always so good at what they do, knowledgeable, whatever it is. The word always followed by something positive. And when that happens, you're operating in that zone of amazement, or in your words, remarkable. So that's how you have to think of this. It's not about being over the top. It's about doing and meeting the expectation. When you meet somebody's expectations, baseline expectations all the time, they say, I love doing business with them because, and you can fill in the blank. So start there. I want you to journey map the typical experience that your customer or client has with you. So from the moment they're looking at the website, to the inquiry, to the follow-up, to the proposal, to the actual engagement, to the follow-up that happens after that, there's lots of these touch points along the way. And there's many more than just these, but I just wanted, those are probably some of the basics. Identify every one of those and say, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to make this remarkable? And again, remarkable is not about over the top. Remarkable is getting the best out of it. For example, when somebody calls, how do we answer the phone? Good morning, Shep Hyken's office. This is so-and-so. May I help you? That's how we answer the phone. We don't say, what do you want? We don't say Shep Hyken's office, gruffly, which can translate to meaning, what do you want? And so, little things like that. The standards of returning a phone call or an email, you create those standards. What does your proposal look like? What's your time frame on how long proposals are going to take? And if it's going to be, we just met with somebody that said, you know what, it's spring break and I'm getting ready to leave tomorrow. Do you need it by tomorrow, or can I wait till I get back? Well, the fact that they asked, we now have a new expectation. We can wait till you get back. So when do you get back? End of next week. When after that do you think we'll receive it? Probably receive it on Monday, a week from this coming Monday. I go, that's perfect. We know. We don't expect it any sooner. And since if they do it, by the way, if it shows up on Tuesday or Wednesday, they miss the expectation, they're not going to get the gig.
I can remember so many times where I feel like I probably let people down. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll follow up with you. And then I lost track of it and whatever. And then I thought,
do you have a system that does that? do you have a CRM?
Yeah.
And I'll recommend, I mean, there's so many of them that are out there. Some that will allow you to email out to a blast to all your clients. Some will just manage when you're supposed to call people back, the tasks that you have. We use something called Zoho, Zoho. It's about $35 per seat. So we have several seats for the people that need it and use it here. So for like nothing,
Yeah.
$100 a month, I get 3 people, $130, $120. I get 4 people, 5 people's under 100. I mean, so you see, very inexpensive to use. And I think it's a great way of managing the whole process. And it's, by the way, Zoho is much more than that, which is one of the reasons I like it. It's got a calendar function similar to Calendly. It's got a vault that's similar to LastPass or any of these others where you can put your passwords in. So it's got all these little features around it, which allow me to not have to subscribe to all these other little features that I have. Like I can't remember how you and I set up our calendar, but was Calendly. It was Calendly. Yep. So what is that? $12 a month, $15 a month? Okay, so you eliminate that. Well, that's half of the Zoho cost. Okay, what else do I have that we pay money for every month? Well, we pay $15 to LastPass a month. Oh, they've got the vault. Oh, I've just paid for my subscription by eliminating. So anyway, I like that product. I also like Salesforce. They're a client, and I've used their product. Goldmine has a really nice. Well, it's not Goldmine anymore. The guy that started it. Oh, what does he call it? Anyway, these are all relatively inexpensive, and yet they allow you to keep track. One other point I want to make, back to the original question: what does it take to be remarkable? What can you do? Part of being amazing and remarkable is about being aware of when you have opportunities to do that. And you have opportunities every day to do it, even if it's simple as calling somebody back quickly. That's a positive, remarkable trait. So what I would consider doing if you've got a small team is, hey, everybody, next week we're going to have our Monday morning meeting like we always do. I want each of you to come with an example of when you exhibited some remarkable behavior to one of our clients or a colleague. And I want you to share that in our meeting. And there's just a few of us there, and take 3-4 minutes to do that. It's very powerful. You create what's called service awareness when that happens.
That's good. Yeah, we do. We just call it humble brag of the week, and allow everybody. Yeah,
that's a great way of saying it.
Go around.
We formalize. I thought I might have had one. We've got these little cards. They say moments of magic on them, and everybody you've got to be able to write it out in 2 or 3 sentences. It can't become a novel. But we just want a quick. This is how we do it, and it's real simple, and nothing to it.
Yeah, and I don't want that to go like, oh, that's cute, cool, whatever, that's neat, but you're creating that awareness. You're using that word in there, service awareness, to say like, this is the expectation. This is what we should be doing every single day. And without talking about it, you can just assume that your team just knows how they should be treating people every single day. But when you talk about it, that's why we do core value recognition at our weekly meetings. So we can be calling out, and people know what the words are, and they know what they mean, and they see examples in other people, and the practice of like calling people out and recognizing them. That's the culture that we're trying to create. And we could just say, these are our core values. We talk about them once a year at our annual meeting, with our team of 6 people.
Or maybe when they're onboarded and you never hear about them again.
Right.
And nobody's going to remember every core value, but when you look at like what the Ritz-Carlton does, their 9-word, they call it their credo, is we're ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And behind that is our 24 behaviors. They call them their gold standards. And every day they say, we're going to focus on this gold standard today. And they're a 7-day-a-week operation. So at the end of 24 days in a row, they flip back to number 1 and do this every day. Year after year after year. And if you're in, St. Louis, Missouri, where I live, or you're in Abu Dhabi at the Ritz-Carlton, you're going to get the same one. They all do it on the same one, same day, every day. Now, what that allows, the typical employee doesn't work 7 days a week, but what it allows them to do is over a period of a year, they estimate the average employee is going to hear the message 8 to 9 times. Okay. That's not bad. Yeah. So what are your non-negotiable behaviors? And are you bringing them up often enough that people are going to remember what they are and act on them? And are you asking people to share examples of how they're using them? So every day is a lot, but that's their kind of business. They can do that. Once a week is a really good cadence.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. I also don't want to, or I definitely want to highlight the idea of having a CRM. because I'm rewinding again. 18 years ago when I first started, I had a yellow pad. I think they were called legal pads. And I was like, well, that sounds really formal and business-like. So let me get one of those and get a pen. And every time somebody called, I would write their name down, their email. And then my handwriting's terrible. So once I had like a page full, and then I'd be flipping through multiple pages. And oh my goodness, I don't know if it was 2 years into running a business where maybe I transitioned at some point to a spreadsheet. So it was a little more organized. But to have an actual software that is called a CRM, a customer or client relationship manager, that shows you touch points, that helps you remind you what the next stage is, what you should be sending them, that just keeps track of all open potential clients, gives you a dashboard so you see and you know, and it's like, okay, that was a game changer. So I could sleep better at night knowing most everything was in the place that it needed to be, versus like going to bed and being like, I can't remember, was I supposed to call that person, or where is that person? So yes, get a CRM if you don't have one. We use Pipedrive, but definitely
Pipedrive is great.
Yeah,
very familiar with it.
Really good idea. Well, so okay, you're talking to video people. We have this expertise, this like superpower that not everybody has the ability to do video. We have the ability to do it, I think, really, really well. What opportunities might there be for us in our businesses with our potential clients and our clients to use video to our advantage to create quality customer experiences?
Well, here's a great one. We do this in two different ways. When I am talking to you, if you're a potential client, I'm listening to words that you're using and I'm writing them down, and I want to find out what the project's about. And for my speaking engagements, I want to know what the project's about. Why is my topic, customer service, important to your audience? What's the best outcome? What happens if you don't do this? What are you worried about if we don't, focus on it? So I write all these things down. I've got a choice. Depending on what I'm doing, I will take the time to send back a nice email with bullet points. But attached to that is a video that I use on my little video camera. By the way, I have this is great. This is my little Logitech Brio camera, nice 4K web camera. But if you look over here, I've got a nice expensive $1,200 Sony camera with a $1,000 lens on front of it that I use for my regular virtual presentations. So we've got this equipment we can use. But I love sending a video where if you attach it, it's impossible to send it and it's forever to open it up. But there's companies who allow you to store it, and then you give them a link, they click on it, and they don't have to download the video. They just watch it like a Vimeo type video, okay? So rehashing it in the form of a video where you simply say, hey, it was great to meet you, Ryan, and we talked about your project, and this is what I took away. This is what I understand. And you reflect using their words, okay? And now they not only can hear, they can see, and this person gets what our project is about. So I think using video in the proposal stage is but not just the proposal, even prior to sending a proposal, in the consideration stage shows that you're using video as a medium to communicate an important message, just like they want to use a video to do whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah, that's a great example. Tool like Loom, BombBomb. Are there any tools that you use?
Yeah, I use BombBomb a lot. Loom is great as well.
Yeah, good. And it's like I'm so I was introduced to you through that book, Human-Centered Communication, right?
Well, the BombBomb guys,
right? Yeah, exactly. Even before, I remember my thesis, is that what it's called? Like graduating college, this paper that I wrote was really about human-centered communication. Like AOL Instant Messenger was like all the rage. Everybody's using it. People were starting to like do text messaging a lot more. And I was like, man, there's something that we might miss that if we keep going down this path. And when you can show up and bring some personality, bring your true authentic self, even in a follow-up video, right? So if you just had a phone call with somebody, they're asking all the questions about what it looks like to work with you as a production company. And if you could send them a follow-up video where they see you, they kind of get your vibe. And my vibe is like, I'm a little loose. I'm a little sarcastic. I'm goofy. And I try to like share that so that people aren't surprised later when after they sign a proposal with us and then they start working with me or my team, who like they kind of, I'm leading them. So they're not nearly as goofy as I am, but they're still like, we take our jobs and our clients seriously, but we also like to have fun and enjoy the process. And we want our clients to do that too. So I can infuse that in this, short little, hey, it was great talking to you. I love the idea of reflecting using their words. That's something that we do when we run a workshop for our clients, a paid workshop where we take them through our video making process and give them a blueprint on the back end. We'll take those words that they're using, just like you said, and we'll put them in the blueprint. And so what's hilarious is they'll read this blueprint and they'll just say like, man, this is so good. And I just laugh. I'm like, yeah, those are all of your words.
He knows exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
And that's because you told him what you were thinking and he paid attention to what you were thinking.
Yeah. But it's a powerful exercise. And really, at the end of the day, it's not our job, at least I'm not making it my job, to figure out what our clients want. I really want them to articulate the best they can what they want. And then if I can reflect back and say, here's what I heard you say, and giving them an opportunity to say like, oh, no, that's not what we want. It's like, oh, okay, well, tell me more so I can understand and we can really approach this project.
I think in your business, clients have to know, they have to have an idea. And if they don't, I give you an example in my business. A big a video that we do is our demo videos. These are the videos that our clients look to determine whether or not they're going to hire us to speak at their conferences.
Oh, well, yeah.
So you can tell the difference between $1,000 video and a $25,000 video. Yeah. That's really obvious. But if somebody's trying to sell me a video or if I'm trying to buy a video from somebody and you want to be my vendor, but I can't articulate what it is that I want, all you're going to be doing is taking a chance. Yeah. So a technique that I like is and we do this, I'll ask them, have you hired speakers in the past? And they'll say, yes. And I'll go, great. There's probably some you loved and some you didn't love. I don't need to hear about the ones you didn't love. But tell me about the ones you love. Tell me who they are, okay? Now I'm going to go find out if I don't know who they are. I'm going to find out who they are and watch their style, and that gives me an idea. I'll start to see a pattern. Yeah. If I would say to a client in the video, the same thing, if go out and look at, if I'm the speaker and I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to hire this videographer, I'm going to probably show you 5 videos of my colleagues that I would like my video to be as good as or similar to, okay? And you may, if they don't know what they want, you may say, hey, what we're trying, whatever the project is, you want to do a, short kind of a description of your company and a little bit of history, kind of a, video brochure. Yeah. Have you seen, what made you think of this? Well, I saw something. Well, show me 2 or 3 that you really, really like. Yeah. And then I get an idea of what you're looking for. Yeah. Ask them to bring you, because sometimes they can't articulate it the way you want. Yeah, it's just an idea.
That's really helpful, especially when you're talking to somebody who has no idea. They can't really articulate it. They don't have any idea what their budget, what to budget, because they've never done something.
Well, they don't know what the budget is. It's a problem. So we have a line that we use, by the way, that says, "What's this going to cost?" Yeah. And like an email. How much is it? Well, we got to know what your scope of work is before we can give you a price, right? So our standard line is, we would love to have a conversation with you. Let me just tell you, we have something that fits in every budget. Literally, if you don't have a budget, we've got something for you that I don't know if it's what you want, but it is what we can do at no budget. And if you've got an unlimited budget, well, then you're going to spend a lot less than that. But we start with that premise. And then we say, now, if you're interested in the typical ordinary, this is what Shep charges. Yeah. But we really need to know exactly what you want for us to be able to give you a firm fee. Let's open the door. Here's a link to my calendar. Let's sync up our calendars and have a call. So that's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, and with those clients that don't have an idea of budget for video, one of our things is like, well, show us like what inspired you, like why are we having this conversation? You saw something, and so then when they can show us, if we could have something that's like this, it's like we can look at that and be like, oh baby, that's Hollywood production. That's,
Right.
6 figures. Or it's like, oh dude, I can do that. We can do that today. Show up to the studio. We'll knock that out in an hour and it's $2,500.
Yep. So here's the other thing. So, well, I really don't have a budget. Well, what does that mean? I've got $500. We can't do anything for $500. But what we can do is tell you how you can do it yourself. We have a short little document, PDF, that we can send you. I can do it for any budget.
Yeah.
So we tell our clients, you want something free? Go on YouTube. I've got hundreds of videos. Okay. And you'll see there's this one thing, I think, Shep's weekly video tips. Start watching them. Yeah. It'll take you a year to get through all of them. There's like 600 of those.
Oh my.
So, yeah. I think I have over 900 videos on my YouTube channel, and I use interviews and lots of tips. And boy, if you want to go back and you can see my original tips from like 15 years ago, where I'm putting the camera up and I'm standing in front of my bookcase and I'm talking. And, today I've got a little studio we add graphics and try to make it look nicer and, that type of thing.
That's awesome. It is all, at least for us, it's always a little cringy to look at, videos of ourselves or
I know we fear that, but that's free. And then, okay, we don't have a lot of money, but we do have a little bit of money. Okay. I've got a video I can sell you, like it's, that you can share at the team. We've got on-demand training. We can sell you that, going all the way up to here's Shep doing your keynote speech, but here's Shep bringing in a trainer, adding a year's worth of video content that you can, so now, we can go on and on, and the budget can be, huge, or it can be very small.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this is great, Shep. What am I, as we wind down here, what am I not asking? What's like one nugget that you're like, oh gosh, Ryan, if there's one thing that you need to walk away with today, it's this.
Wow. If there's one thing, I would say that understanding what customer amazement is, and that is, like we talked about, remarkable, amazement, whatever word you want to use. I want to emphasize this more than anything. It's not about being over the top. You need to meet the expectation of that customer. And when the customers use the word always in front of whatever it is that you're, doing and talking about and selling, they always do a great job. They're always following up quickly. We talked a little bit about this before. That's where I think you're operating in the zone of amazement, and it's the consistent and predictable meeting of expectations or ever so slightly above. You do not have to be over the top every single interaction you have with a customer to make them say, wow, this person's amazing. If you are over the top every time, you will probably freak them out and drive them crazy. But over the top is a great opportunity when there's an emergency. I need this video by Monday, and I realize it's Thursday night. What can we do tomorrow? And what can you do over the weekend? And you churn out this great video, and Monday shows up. It's like, oh my gosh, this is why I love doing business with you. And at that point, money may be insignificant compared to getting what they want in the time they want it. But you've gone over the top, worked all weekend, whatever. Those happen once in a while, but you don't need them to happen every day to get that top 5-star rating that you always want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Shep, share once more, where can people follow along with your YouTube stuff? And
Hyken.com. Yeah, HYKEN.com.
Love it. Easy breezy, man. Just like keeping it simple. Well, thanks so much for spending time with us today. I really appreciate you. Congrats on, incredible career. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
All right, friend, I'm so glad to hang out with you on this episode. If you want links to the show notes, any of the things that we talked about inside of the episode, go to studiosherpas.com/332, because that's what episode this was. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube and you have something to say, if you want to add to the conversation, please comment there. Love to hear if you have a takeaway, something that you're just like, man, this was so good, this stood out to me. Let me know what you're thinking. If you just want to shoot me an email and let me know what you're thinking, you can email me, and my email address is ryan@studiosherpas.com. Whew. Yes. And if you really like this episode and you think somebody else could benefit from it, take a screen grab on your phone, shoot them an email, but a text message, because that might be easier. And I would be so grateful if you did share it, if you think it would be valuable. And I think that's it. I'll see you on next week's episode. So glad that we get to hang out, and would love to know you if I don't already. So don't be a stranger, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.